Thank you all so much for your votes and for staying. I really appreciate it. We all do. My name is Anthony Luzak. I'm a pediatric nurse practitioner and a developmental behavioral specialist, board certified in both. I'm here today to discuss the psychology behind COVID and these mandates. It's called mass formation. Mass formation is the psychological process of totalitarian systems. My grandmother survived the Holocaust, and I must speak out against this totalitarian process that's now threatening all of us and our children. In order to understand and see how we can have testimony that's so conflicting from some of the employees of the state that we heard today with all the people that came up that were opposed to this, you have to remember back that we had a mental health crisis that predated COVID. And in the years before COVID, a large percent of the population did not have a clear sense of meaning and purpose in their life. They lacked deep social connections. This is a result of the technological shift from biological interactions. When people don't have a sense of meaning and are isolated, the result that follows is an anxiety which causes a lot of pent-up energy. It's an anxiety without an object. There's no way to easily do anything about it. When a massive media campaign then directs the population to a specific thing to be afraid of and gives them rituals to perform, that is a mass formation. Mass formation is similar to hypnosis because they both work psychologically by narrowing our focus of attention to the one narrative or the one thing or the hypnotic effect. All are susceptible to this process, though higher levels of education make you more likely to be hypnotized by mass formation. And having been hurt, manipulated, or having faith in a God that's a good God and belief in evil in the world, you can have a sense that this isn't right. Those are protective factors. Those in charge of the narrative often do not believe the narrative, but are most hypnotized by the belief that they're justified in their efforts to direct the masses towards a common good. I believe that we witnessed this today. Totalitarian systems utilize fear to control the masses and perpetuate the mass formation. People, they will ignore their own interests, forsake their liberties, defend a narrative and rituals, no matter what evidence is given to the contrary. And then we will start committing atrocities against our own as soon as the voices of dissent are silenced. This is what happens historically. It's what happened to my grandmother. This narrative focuses our attention on one thing, and everything else is ignored. Mobs do not tolerate dissent. And that's why we see censorship. That's why anyone that brings up vaccine adverse events, the failures of the vaccines or other mitigation strategies, or even safe and effective treatments is censored, silenced, deplatformed, threatened with their licenses. It's said by sociologists that the more ridiculous the action, the better ritual it makes. COVID vaccine mandates cannot stand the test of scrutiny, but it makes sense to mandate at a very low, it doesn't even make sense to mandate at a very low risk of disease like we've heard about. But those mandates form a ritual. They're a ritual. And when you, excuse me, that ritual is important to those that are hypnotized because it belongs in the group. And so, remember, the more ridiculous the ritual, the better action it makes. What happens is those who are hypnotized are unable to assess the data and see it. They can't see it, and they don't know. You could show it to people, and they can't see it at all.
Thank you, sir.